Good morning, gardeners. This is Dick Zondag, the Garden Doctor, and we're going to be planting some annuals this morning. Planting annuals, we want to have color around our houses, and so annuals are plants that go from seed to seed in 1 year. And so what you do is you take advantage of that because they'll give you a lot of color, and there's been a lot of breeding done with petunias and verbena and lots of other things. We've used the profusion zinnias, we've used different things in the border here. The reason that we're doing this is the daffodils are done blossoming, and what do? You've got to keep the foliage on the daffodils until it dies naturally, which will take probably another month. So you'll probably be waiting for the foliage to die down until the early July. And so what can we do in the meantime to get things going? And so what you do is you plant your annuals between the daffodils, and they can grow while your daffodils are restoring the carbohydrates that they need for next year's blooms. And by planting them between the daffodil leaves, you can get them growing, so when the daffodils die down, you can remove the foliage, they're there. We've used, like I said, profusion zinnias for 2 years, and they look beautiful. But we want to rotate crops. You don't want to have the same thing year after year. So we're going to be using some of the petunias that we grow from cuttings, and the million bells and the verbena. So first thing I want to talk about is the soil. Your plants will not do any better than the soil that they're planted in. And so because this is a new bed, I've only been here in this house for 2 years, and we backfilled around the house and put the black soil. Some of it is not the best, and so what we're going to do is show you how to improve the soil so that you get the best possible results with your annuals. What I always say is using sand and compost, if you've got a very heavy soil, will make your soil really, really good. Right, Wing? Right? Yeah, my pretty girl. So what we're going to do is we're going to plant this little triangle while we're videotaping, and I'll finish the rest later. What we've done with the annuals, these annuals were in the greenhouse for about a month and a half, and we brought them out a week ago, put them outside during the day so that they get the wind and the cool temperatures or the warm temperatures, and now we're going to plant them. And so the first thing I want to do is amend the soil. So I have a bucket full of coarse sand here, and so we're just going to put a little bit of sand in the soil. We're going to be planting the plants in. And then I've brought 3 different composts. My compost pile was depleted with the garden. And so what we're going to do is we're going to mix different types of compost. So I have a bag of manure here, manure compost. Dump it out in the wheelbarrow. Then we have mushroom compost. And we have leaf compost. And now what we're going to do is kind of mix the compost together in the wheelbarrow. We're going to add it to the soil. And now we're going to just gently mix it in. Okay, now that we have the soil enriched and we have our plants here, I'm going to start planting, and we'll show you how you take care of the plants before you put them in the hole. I've used a plant called red thread. It's usually a house plant, but last year I had it along my sidewalk here, and it was very, very nice. So we're going to start it on the point here with one of these. And what you want to do to get a plant spread out is you want to take it's called the apical dominant out. You want to take the tip out so that instead of the plant putting more energy into making the plant taller, it will make the side branches grow. So what we're going to do is one in the point just to coordinate it with the sidewalk. So one of the things I want to do is break the roots up a little bit when you plant it, especially if it's root bound, and that will help the plant move the roots out into the soil. So we've got that one, and now spacing. I think spacing the plants about 12 to 15 inches apart, depending on the plant that you have. If you've got some of the wave petunias, you can even plant them farther apart because they'll cover a whole area in no time. So what I'm going to do along here is I'm going to put the white verbena along the edge of the limestone here, and then the rest of the bed will be this speckled petunia. So let's start with the verbena. These are pretty well branched, so I'm not going to pinch anything on here because they're already started to branch. So okay, we've got the verbena in. Now with the petunia, you can see that it's putting most of its growth into the top part. And so what we want to do is go in here, and with petunias, I want to make sure that I get the growing point. So I go back at least one set of leaves to take the tip out. And so you're sacrificing a couple of flowers, but throughout the summer it will look better if you do that. You can see here this one is growing with just the one dominant branch, so we're going to take the tip out to make it spread out. Then we're going to water them in. I've put some fertilizer in the water, and I used a fertilizer with a little more nitrogen in it because the nitrogen, the first number of a fertilizer analysis, has to do with the growth of the plant. And so we want to get these plants off to a good start. 2 or 3 weeks down the road, I'll be using a different fertilizer which has a little less nitrogen in and a little more phosphorus, because that will encourage the flowering of the plant. So, hoping this gives you a little bit of help with planting annuals. Hoping your summer will be very colorful. This is Dick Zonde, the Garden Doctor.